Beautiful day outside today. It's going to be great in the down-to-earth workshop. Going to get a lot of stuff done today. Before I start though, I want to talk with you for a few minutes about bench hooks. Bench hooks are simply work-holding devices to use with your workbench. They can be simple and utilitarian, or they can be a little fancier and a little more complex. So let's take a look today at bench hooks and we'll see if we can get you hooked up. This is my current bench hook. It's a very simple affair. A piece of plywood, a scrap piece of wood on the top to make a fence, another scrap piece on the back which is the hook that allows the bench hook to be held against the workbench. Bench hooks are great for quick cuts. They're also handy for cutting the shoulders of a tenant. If you're not totally comfortable with your own sawing technique, you can also use the side of the fence to line up your cuts. It's almost like a miter box. In a pinch, as long as your workpiece is thicker than the fence, you could even use this as a planing stop. Last but not least, I've even used it as a place to set my coffee. So a bench hook can be pretty simple, but could it be improved? You may recall the shooting board that I built a while back. There's an article in Wood News Online and a video about it as well. There's a few things I like about this shooting board. First of all, it's a little taller, makes the working height a little bit more comfortable. It's built a bit like a torsion box, so it's heavy, sturdy, doesn't move around on the bench a lot. I really like the French cleat on the back, which allows me to hang this on the wall when I'm not using it. And I like the additional storage in the top, which allows me to put things like my 45-degree miter fixture away and keep the clutter in my shop down. I think we could incorporate a few of these features into a bench hook, so let's take a look. The size you make a bench hook is not critical. Make whatever is most comfortable for you. For me, I wanted to build a bench hook that was slightly longer than the width of my bench. The reason being is I want to put a French cleat on the back so I can hang this out of the way when I'm not using it. And I need some overhang on the back side for the hook of the bench hook. While I was at it, I cut two pieces of plywood the same size, and I ripped a bunch of plywood strips exactly the same width. What we're going to do is essentially build a mini torsion box which will be the base of our new bench hook. Okay, while the glue was drying on the torsion box, the bottom of our new bench hook, I took the time to rip a 45-degree cut in this poplar. This will become the French cleat on the back of the bench hook for hanging it up. And I started working on the fences. I found this leftover ash and I glued that to another piece of hardwood that was trimmed to a 1/4 inch thick. It's nice. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I just don't remember. But anyway, this will become my straight fence. And I did the same thing with another piece of ash cut to 45 degrees on both sides. And this will become my 45-degree fence. Before we glue the top on this torsion box, got a couple more little things I want to do. I've drawn a center line down the middle of this board, equidistant from either end, and I've marked 3 hole locations. I'm going to position the fence in the center of this board, and then I'm going to drill through the plywood and into the fence so that the holes are perfectly located. At that point, I'm going to glue dowels into the fence. The fence will then fit into those holes, but be able to be removed. I can move from straight fence to 45 fence and back with ease. By the way, if you're like me and can't always drill perfectly straight holes, this little gadget it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than drilling by hand. Now with the holes drilled through the top, I can position my other fence and flip it over and use a 1/4 inch bit through the hole. I use a brad point bit, and that'll make a mark in the fence, show me exactly where to drill those holes, and I'll drill those on the drill press. Okay, now with the holes drilled in these fences, I'm going to put a little dollop of glue in each hole, maybe more than a dollop. And I'm going to set these dowels in about halfway. It's not critical to measurement. Okay, with the holes drilled in the top for the fence, we're ready to close up this torsion box. Put the top on the sandwich, so to speak. So we'll glue that, put a few clamps on it, and get that ready to go. It's my expensive glue spreader. While that's drying, let me show you what else I've been up to. Does it look familiar? Yep. It's a mini version of the same thing. And in a few minutes, I'll show you what that's going to be used for. We're all done. I've got the clamps off. Let's take a look at how this bench hook is going to work. Okay, the first thing you'll notice about my new bench hook is that the fence has a sacrificial piece here at the bottom. It's going to be a lot easier to replace the fence than to replace the entire bench hook. On my old bench hook, I would often saw into the base whenever I was sawing through a piece. So with this bench hook, we can do pretty much anything we can with any other bench hook. We can make a straight cut. If I happen to be working on this side of the bench, I can come over here and make a cut as well. I like that because I work on all sides of my bench. Another thing that often happens with a bench hook is if you've got a bench hook with a really long piece that wants to sag off the other side, you need something to prop it on. So if you'll recall, when I was building this, I built these mini torsion boxes. They're exactly the same height as the bench hook, so I can just set that off to the side on my workbench, and I've got a convenient work support to keep my work level as I'm sawing it. Fence is mounted with dowels into pre-drilled holes. I can simply take that fence out and replace it with a 45-degree fence, and I'm ready to cut miters as well. And speaking of cutting miters, if I just happen to feel like it, I can also cut a miter from the other side. I like the fact that the new bench hook is a little higher off the bench, Gives me a nice working angle and gets the work a little closer to my eyes. I can see it a little bit better. And just like on the shooting board, I've got some storage here in the end. So when I hang this up on the wall, I'll be able to store bits and pieces in it. The French cleat on the front and the hook in the back make it a hook from either direction. So if I'm sawing on this side, I'm pushing this way against the French cleat. If I'm sawing on this side, I'm pushing against the bench hook. All in all, this is pretty decent. As you know, I built 2 of these accessory torsion boxes so I can support a really long workpiece if I need to, but I've got some other ideas for this as well. My bench is pretty flat, but it may not be perfect. These torsion boxes are perfect. So if I was building a chair and needed to get the legs down where I knew they would be square, or if I'm doing a glue up that I need to be perfectly square, I've got 2 perfectly flat surfaces to work with. I might also use these for finishing to get it up off my bench. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of uses for these. All in all, I'm pretty satisfied with the way my new bench hook and the accessories turned out. It'll get a good workout here in the down-to-earth woodworking shop, and I hope it gave you some ideas to build your own bench hook and get hooked up. Till next time, this is Steve. Thanks for watching.